Consider yourself an introvert, type a 1. If you consider yourself an extrovert, type a 2. If you feel like you're somewhere in the middle, give me a 12. So 1, 2, or 12. If you consider yourself an introvert, type a 1. If you consider yourself an extrovert, type a 2. And if you feel like you're somewhere in the middle, then you're going to obviously type 1 and 2, which is the number 12. So let's see what we got here. Sherelle considers herself introvert. The way that the chat happens is like they're all going to come at the same time. So they're all just going to like flow in at once. So yep, there they go. All right. So Ujo said 1. We got lots of ones. 1. Candace said 1. Mia says both. So we got 12. LaTisha says 2. Roxana 1. Becoming to being 1. Wendy's like 1. Introvert. Melissa says a little bit of both. Jamie says 1. Gregory 1. Miriam 1. Nisi 1. You dream it, we achieve it. 2. Paula. Hello, Paula. Courtney's like 2. Candace 1. Nancy 2. Lena 1. Jamie's like, okay, actually both. And Sheena says 2. Kimmy says both. Yeah. So the reason that I asked that is like I tend to attract introverts, which makes sense because that's how I've structured my marketing. I do also have some extroverts in my audience. So the very first thing that I like to do is to define what makes an introvert versus extrovert. And in the simplest of terms, it's all about how you recharge. So an introvert tends to recharge with alone time, tends to recharge with things that they can do on their own. And they also process their thoughts by thinking those thoughts. An extrovert tends to gain energy from being around other people. And they recharge by being in situations where they're interacting with other people, and they tend to process their thoughts by speaking their thoughts. So that's the only difference. So you can be an outgoing introvert and you can be a shy introvert. You can be an outgoing extrovert and you can be a shy extrovert. The only difference that, or like the main difference that, you know, people will notice and see is that when an introvert goes to a networking event or a party or some sort of event where there's a lot of people around, you might notice that they are either standing in a small group where there's either them and plus one other person or maybe 1 or 2 other people, or they're kind of off to the side, maybe even playing on their phone or just, you know, just sitting observing, because we're okay with just sitting back and like observing the room. Versus if you see a networking event, you might see the extrovert doing more entertaining several people or chatting several people up. And in general, they're the ones kind of like going from person to person. So for me in social situations, I know that I need to recharge my battery. So what I do is I draw on that outgoing energy that I have. And if I'm at a networking event, my first thing is like, all right, go find a couple different people, go, you know, do your butterfly flit thing to a couple different people, and then go recharge. And I might recharge by like, I'll just go to the bathroom and like hang out in there a little bit longer than what I thought I was going to do, or, you know, go get a drink or, you know, food at the little bar or whatever, and just hang out there by myself a little bit longer before I'm like, all right, time to go back in. Right. So that's in general the definition and how the main difference between introverts and extroverts. Hey, Donita. Definitely an extrovert, but hanging out with you today anyway. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Cheryl says a lot of alone time helps me think clearly. Yeah, because when you're alone, remember, you're not speaking your thoughts out, you're thinking your thoughts. So it's able to help you process. And then that way you make better decisions based on your personality, you make better decisions, and you're able to do all of that. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Alone time. And the thing is that a lot of times, hey, Keshna, when people get older, they realize that they have additional introvert tendencies that maybe they didn't realize when they were younger. And typically the reason for that is you just have less time and energy for people's BS. And so it's not necessarily that like you changed, but you just, when you were younger, you kind of like let it go more versus like as you get older and more mature, you're just like, okay, I'm sort of like over this, kid stuff. And like, I don't want to be around these people because I feel like they drain my energy. And then you might notice that you tend to do more introverted style processing. So I always say that, and I like to define it and give that definition because 12 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. I like to give that definition because a lot of times people have the wrong misconception about introverts. They automatically use the word shy introvert, and that's not necessarily true. An introvert does not have to be shy. An introvert and an extrovert does not have to be outgoing. You can be an outgoing introvert and a shy introvert. You can be an outgoing extrovert and a shy extrovert. So I feel like I always need to define that because a lot of times people are like, oh, you're an introvert, so therefore you have social anxiety and you don't want to be around people and you have a hard time starting conversations. And the answer to that is no, that's not true. It's simply that it requires a little bit more energy from me and I need to recharge. So for me, like I said, as knowing myself and knowing my introvert tendencies, I plan my spurts of energy around, okay, how am I going to recharge? Going to conferences, things like that, like all of those tend to drain me and they drain me fairly quickly because they're using it's more energy required. Okay. So that's simply it. And so the realization that I came to was like, business is really suited for extroverts, to be honest. Like, I'm not even going to kid you guys. The business world is designed for an extrovert because as a business owner, you need to be able to start conversations. You need to be able to maintain conversations. You need to be able to follow up with people. You need to have all of these conversations that as an introvert can really just drain the heck out of you, right? And so when I first started my business, I honestly thought that was going to hold me back. I was like, this is so draining. It's something that's going to prevent me from being successful because I don't want to be on the phone all day. I don't want to live stream every day, which is what one of my coaches at the time told me. She was like, just do a live stream every day. And I was like, how am I supposed to do a live stream every day? Like, I don't want to be in front of the camera every single day. You guys notice that I do once a week live stream. Like, this is me with like all of the energy that I got for the week for a live stream. This is it. This is what we're doing. We're going, right? And so otherwise I would need to do more recharging. And so I really thought it was going to hold me back, honestly. Like, I was expecting an uphill journey and an uphill battle. And the realization that I came to was that I don't have to change who I am. I simply need to create systems around who I am and do stuff that works for me instead of trying to fight my introvert tendencies. And so if that's you, if you're like, what am I supposed to do? Because people are telling me to go DM a bunch of people, but I don't want all these messages coming back to me. People are telling me to live stream every day, but I don't have the energy to get on a live stream every day. Like, it's just literally draining. I'm here to tell you that there is a better way. And it's possible to create a 5-figure per month business, multiple 5-figure per month business, 6-figure per year, multiple 6-figure per year. Like, all of that is possible, even as an introvert. And so what I discovered and what I learned how to do was to draw on the energy that I needed at the start, because there are some things that you are going to have to do that's going to drain you at the start. And that's because it's just like pushing a ball down a hill. Like, at first you're going to have to give it a push, right? So that's something that unfortunately it's just going to be required. Like, it's the work. Energy is energy. So the rule of an object in motion will stay in motion applies to business. And the rule of an object at rest will stay at rest until a force is acted upon it is the same in business. So that means that for you to be able to get all of these things going in place and in motion so that they work for you, there's going to be an initial push. All right. And so my initial push was learning what to do, what to say, and how to structure it. Once I figured that out for myself, I packaged it up and put it inside of the You've Got Clients program and the You've Got Clients curriculum and training. And I started teaching it to other introvert clients. One of the very first, actually the first client, one of the very first clients that I worked with in a one-on-one capacity with the You've Got Client system, she considers herself an introvert. So if you guys have seen Tila's story, her testimonial story, she does investing and teaches investing for people who want to trade their 9 to 5, meaning like you want to create a portfolio and income that like you're not just building a portfolio of assets to look at it, like you want to create income so that it can replace the income you're making from your 9 to 5. And when I spoke with her, she was like, I see what you're doing. And she was like, that's what I need. And so we put together her, all the things that I help clients put together. So we put together her webinar, we looked at emails, we looked at her ads and all those things, created that funnel. And she launched and she generated like 18K in the first 2 weeks. And then by the time she was done with her initial launch, it was like 26,000 something. And that process that I learned and started teaching to clients is this is the introvert friendly process. And I'm not going to talk as much about the process today because I have a full training that talks about it. It's called, the name of it is called You've Got Clients. It's called the Client Gaining System. So I did an entire webinar, free training on demand that you can go watch. Just go to you'vegotclients.com and then click the button that says free training and watch it. It'll break down the entire process, system, all that. What I wanted to talk more so about today was like the sales, the sales part, the sales pieces of that process. Okay. I see comments that are coming in that I've been missing. Okay. Do you feel it's easier to live stream versus pre-record? I prefer pre-recording, which is why my YouTube channel is majority pre-recorded videos. Recently, there's been a lot of changes in my life and I haven't been able to really sit down to batch record. I haven't made the time to sit down and batch record videos. So like right now, my YouTube channel is just like this weekly live stream is really all I can keep up with right now. And that's only because I have some goals in other areas of my life. So I've been, there's a balance. And so I've been kind of focusing more on getting on stage and like a little bit less on business. So things that are not as essential to revenue generating have kind of taken a little bit of a hit. So for me personally, I think it's easier to pre-record because I can think about my topics, give myself 3 bullet points and then go record. But it might be different for other people. I also think it's easy to live stream, but if I had to choose. I'm an extrovert, but once a week live stream is enough for me too. Yeah, I think that's like good enough there. Yeah. So so for the question for which is best, as far as live stream versus pre-recording, in general, so from a traffic standpoint, YouTube doesn't necessarily care if it's a live stream or a pre-recorded video. However, what I've noticed is that they will send more traffic and suggest a video that they can put ads on because that's how they make their money. So your pre-recorded videos that are higher quality that can run ads are typically going to get a little bit more traffic, but it doesn't really matter. As far as what is best from the viewer standpoint, typically your pre-recorded is going to have more tight content. And so it's going to be, your 10 to 20 minute video versus a live stream where, we're doing a little bit of Q&A where, I might talk about my shirt, for the first minute or so or whatever. So from a viewer standpoint, usually that tight content for a pre-recorded is going to be better. But then also from an interaction standpoint, I love the live streams. I love doing this, the answers and questions and chatting with you guys also. Lashana says, there you go. You don't step out of your design. You connect how it empowers you. This is so my favorite subject. Yes, ma'am. All right. And LaTisha says, I'm an extrovert, but this discussion is excellent for me as well. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So let's talk about the sales steps that go into the process. when you are making, quote unquote, making a sale, and when a sale is made, typically what happens is there are a series of decisions that happens before the credit card gets swiped, before the purchase is made, before that actual action of the sale. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that 80 to 90% of the work is done before we get to the sale. And that 80 to 90% is like, that's my introvert playground, okay? Because at the end, when we get to this 20 to 10% and it's just decision time, let's have a chat, let's, figure out what works best for you. When I was first pushing that ball, right? I was doing the calls, I was, doing that process, but everything that I did until that point made it so that those calls were that much easier. And so when I got on the phone with people, it felt like I was chatting with an old friend. It felt like I kind of already knew that person because they had been through that 80 to 90%. Okay. So this is the number one non-salesy sales strategy for introverts. And that is to lean into your introverted nature and create the content that person needs for that 80 to 90% so that it makes the sales process easy. So let's talk about the sales process real quick. So when you get on the phone with someone, if you've done this 80 to 90% right, you're going to hear things like this. This is exactly what I need. I just need to know how to sign up. Is there anything that you need from me that you need to know from me before, we get going? How do we get started? So, in any different number of words or in any different ways that it can be said, it's like the whole like need to sell is eradicated. Like there's no like need to sell. It's basically like, let's make sure you're getting into the right offer for you. Let's make sure this is the right program for you. And like, let's do it. Let's get started. And so that conversation is a I hope I say this right, consultative conversation. And that's the reason why we say discovery call or free consultation or something like that, because all we want to do is make sure that it's the right fit for them. Okay. Now you got your 80 to 90%. So let's talk about that. First touch point, someone is going to find you. They're either going to find you on social media, through an ad, through a podcast, through a YouTube video, whatever your initial thing is that you do. And I call this engaging. You're going to engage with them. They're going to engage with you. That's your first spot to sell. Okay. Doesn't happen all the way at the end. It happens right at the front. So how are you selling at the start? Number one, don't keep it a secret that you have something that they can enroll in eventually, but don't ask them to enroll right away. Just say it's available. And if you'd like more information, this is where you can go get it. So a perfect example is, when we started this live stream, I talked about the path to six figures. I don't know for sure if anyone on this live stream right now is a good fit. It doesn't make sense for me to try to sell it. But at the same time, it is open and it's available for clients. So it would be like, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you that it's available. So therefore, in this part of my marketing, my live streams are an engaged part of my marketing. And it's kind of like the top of the funnel where most people come in and then they, funnel down. And so don't keep it a secret that you do have something for sale, that you do help clients. Like, don't be shy about what you do and how you help clients and all of that. You don't have to be overtly salesy because at this point, like, you don't even know if you want to work with them. They don't know if they want to work with you. So there's no pressure at this point. It's just, it's here. It's kind of like saying, yeah, I bake cupcakes. Like, it's just a great piece of information. Okay, wonderful. You do. And like, as they continue down the process, eventually they're going to be like, man, I wish I had some cupcakes. And you're like, well, what type of cupcake are you looking for? And then we get to the selling part. Okay. So that's the first part. Okay. The first part is when they first meet you and they first engage is making sure that they understand that you do have something for sale. And you can do this on your Instagram. Like I said, any of those places, Instagram, your YouTube, you're, providing good content and you're reminding them like, this is what I do for clients. These are the results that we're able to get. This is where I was. If you don't have results for clients yet, this is where I was and this is where I am now. Because typically you're teaching or coaching on something that either you've been through or you've helped clients through or both. And so that's your first step. So that's kind of where we engage. Then the next phase of the sales process is essentially where we're exchanging something of value. So I'm giving you something for free, and you are giving me in exchange your email address, your phone number, some way to contact you so that we can stay in touch. This is not, it can be, but it's not necessarily a follow or a like or a subscribe. It's literally like, I can call you now. I can text message you now. I can email you now. That's the exchange portion of your, this 80% is it's called the exchange phase. During this phase, what you want to do and your goal to make this 20% sale much easier is you want to give them something that's just going to wow them, that is going to feel almost like they're stealing from you, where they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's giving this away for free. I can't believe that he's providing all of this information or content in such a way that I would have to search all over the internet, and he's putting it in this one location for me, and not charging me anything, but only asking for my email address. Like, am I allowed to do this? Like, that's essentially what you want them to feel during this exchange phase. And when you first start, you're going to have one freebie, is what we call them, or lead magnet. But as you go on, you're likely going to think of other things that you want to give away and other angles where you can bring people in. And that's really what that exchange phase does for us, is it gives us the opportunity to sort of test, like, what are people interested in? What are some of the different angles and ways that I can start that conversation where we exchange, where now we can keep in touch. It's sort of like becoming a really good pickup artist or having good pickup lines. Like, every one of your freebies is like a pickup line, but like a really good one, not like is this your first time here, or do you come around here often, right? It's actually like a pickup line that causes the conversation to continue. And I'm trying to think, like, I don't think I've ever had someone to actually do a successful pickup line on me. I'm like trying to think, but I can't think of anything. I pursued my husband and manifested him, right? So, but I was the one that was like more so of like, okay, like calling and doing all that stuff. So I can't think of like a pickup line or anything that worked on me. But anyways, going down that path, that's essentially what that exchange feature is. It's the pickup line. Hey, is that Cousin Reggie? Hey, Cousin Reggie, how are you? Glad to have you here. Excuse me. So that's our second part of this 80% of the sales process, is the exchange, right? So we're trying to exchange, we're trying to give something good away for that free, for that email address we're getting, for the phone number we're getting, and so on and so forth. Okay. Then from there, we've got the next phase of the selling process is, all right, now it's time to like figure out, like, is this the person that is right for me? And I call this the establish phase, where we're essentially trying to establish who are our buyers, who are our most interested people. We're trying to identify who are the people who are ready to get results now. And so remember, like, this 20% sales process, the reason that it works so well is because we start with such a large, wide base, just engaging through social media, letting people know, hey, we do have something available. And then we kind of narrow it down just a little bit, seeing who's willing to provide a name, an email address, maybe a phone number. And then now we're getting down to a little bit lower in the selling process, where we're going to identifying and establishing who our buyers are. So at this point, what you might do is you might offer a lower level course or a low ticket item for sale. Everybody doesn't do this, but it's something that has worked really, really well for me, because what it allows me to do is it allows me to bring a lot more people at the top, because I can spend a good bit of money knowing that a certain percentage of people are going to buy, and that's going to pay for the ads at the top. And that's kind of another conversation for another day. But in this identify your buyer phase and establish your buyer phase, you're not necessarily trying to figure out who's willing to buy $1,000 course or a $500 course. It's like, are you willing to pull your credit card out and spend $7 or $19 or $30 or whatever that number is for you? And if they are, they're like 10 times more likely to go to the next phase, which is that 20% where we're actually enrolling clients. And this entire process, this is the non-salesy sales strategy, because never at any point are you saying like, you have to join, or like, here's my $10,000 program, like get in on it right now. I've only got 3 spots, like all the fake scarcity stuff that a lot of people do, where they're like, oh, I'm doing calls, but I've only got 3 calls. It's like, well, technically, if you don't have any clients yet, like you got as many calls as what you need to do. But this process where we're doing this 80% non-salesy sales process is like, people are going to show up for your live streams. They're going to show up for your pre-recorded content on YouTube. They're going to show up for your blog posts, your podcast, or whatever that free stuff you're using to engage them. Some people are going to say, hey, wow, I can't believe she's giving this away for free. They're going to give you their email address. They're going to give you their phone number. They're going to feel like they're stealing from you to get this free thing that you're giving them. And then some of those people are going to immediately say, well, I'm ready for more help. Like, what else does she have? What else is he providing that I can pay? Like, I want to pay you back. You gave me this huge, amazing thing for free. Like, how can I pay you back? Oh, and I get more stuff? Like, awesome, let's go. And I really need help with this. And then from there, now okay, this person is probably most likely ready for that sale. And then they schedule the call. You have like an email sequence, which we talked about last week, I think. You have an email sequence that, invites them to hop on the phone. They sign up for a call, and then you have that consultative selling, the consult call, where you're asking questions, you're digging deeper into what they actually need, and then you're making an offer based on what would fit them best. And like I said, when you do this 80 to 90% right, that phone call is like a formality. It's more so, I just want to make sure my questions are answered before I sign up, but I'm ready to sign up. Like, we've had people hop on the phone for the Path to 6 Figures program, and they're like, hey, I'm already ready to go. Like, I have my financing. I've got the funds are in the account. I'm ready to go. Like, what do I need to do? Like, how do I get in? And it always makes me happy to hear that, because that means that I've done my job for that 80%. Like, I've done my job correctly. And I've done it all without any pressure, no high pressure sales tactics. I've done it all without forcing anyone. And I've done it all with educating people along the way. And I actually got a message today from someone who just signed up for Create and Fill Your Coaching program. And I'm probably going to post this on Instagram a little bit later today. But she said, hi, LaTisha, I was impressed by the breakdown of your coaching program and the value of the information. Within that short period of time, I was able to get all of my questions answered that I've been searching for months. That's my job. That is my job. My job is to help you get answers to your questions so you can be an informed buyer, so you know exactly what you need. So now you can make the right decision, whether it's purchasing my course, enrolling in my coaching program, or going somewhere else. I need you to know what questions you need to ask. And so many of you, what you're doing is like, you're forgetting that during this 80% of the process, you're forgetting to create your buyer by teaching them what questions they need to ask so that they can make the right decisions. She said, with that being said, I joined. Thank you. And I'm excited to learn and be of great assistance to my future clients. And that's my goal. My goal is to educate you along the way, whether it's with free live streams, pre-recorded videos, my emails, free content that I provide, low ticket courses that I offer that you can purchase and go through at your own pace, so that now you're ready, you're informed, and you're ready to jump into. Next week is a good one. You are not going to want to miss that one. We're going to be talking about how to sell a $10,000 coaching package. I got some great stories coming for that, because when I sold my first $10,000 coaching package, I was actually at a conference. It was a couple of years ago. So I will be telling that story next weekend. So you definitely want to join me for that. And the number 10,000 is only significant in the sense that it's whatever you want to sell your coaching package for. 10,000 feels like a big number a lot of times to people. And obviously it's part of my personal story. So that's why I'm using that number. But I want you to think of a number that feels like a stretch for you, whether it's 5,000, 6,000, 20,000, whatever it is. Like, think about that. And we're going to cover that next weekend.